Commentary. Verse 1. This surah is identical with the previous one, Surah 113. The matter is supplementary to that of the previous surah. Man is asked to seek refuge in God with his name as Rab, i.e. the Lord of men, i.e. the cherisher and sustainer. Invoking this great attribute, man can expect an especially paternal treatment. Verse 2. To seek refuge in God, invoking his authority over the affairs of men, as their king, i.e. he is the one who can independently act over his creation. Verse 3. To seek the protection, invoking the divinity of the Lord as the God of mankind, for it is God's authority which must necessarily be obeyed, i.e. it is his command or his will which is always done. Verse 4. Qanas, i.e. the one who gets back or withdraws. This is a reference to Satan who withdraws himself the moment he hears the name of the Lord mentioned. Verse 5. Satan who whispers evil into the minds of men and leaves them to suffer the consequences of obeying his instigations to evil. Verse 6. Be the evil doers, the jinns are human beings. It is a well-known fact that among the forces hidden from the human eye, which are active in the world, there are good and also bad ones among them. Jinns, like Satan, are spiritual beings. 1. The End. 1. C6. 112, 41. 29. Shares. Note. All my notes from the beginning up to here may be considered as a crude attempt to understand what the literal wording of the Quran appears to our limited mind, and to convey. Otherwise, the whole life of the most learned divines would not do justice to what Quran contains and conveys. It is the final word of God to mankind as a whole, for all times until the day of judgment. If there be any mistake, it will be mine. AP. And perfect is the word of thy Lord in truth and justice. There is none who can change his words, and he is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. 6. 116. Shares. Prayer after completion of Quran. O my Lord, expand thou my breast with Quran. Actuate thou my body with Quran. Enlighten my sight with Quran. Liberate my tongue by Quran. And help me to mold my life according to Quran, so long as thou maketh me live. For verily there is neither any power, nor any might, save by thee. Salutation to the Holy Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad, wa barak Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad, waram Muhammadin wa aala Muhammad, kama salita, wa barakta wa tarahamta. Allah Ibrahim wa al Ibrahim, hmaka Hamidut Majid. O Lord, let peace be on Muhammad and his family, and blessings be on Muhammad and his family. And mercy be for Muhammad and his family, in the same manner as thou didst bestow peace. Blessings and mercy on Abraham and his family, verily thou art the most praised, the Lord of glory. Note. After completing the recital of the Quran and this prayer at the end, the reciter may seek the. This portion of the verse shows that training is related to two things, book, and wisdom. Actually both are one and the same. Book means the knowledge of the Holy Quran, and wisdom denotes the secret of the creation of the universe. In other words, book is the codification of religious law, and wisdom means the realities connected with creation of the universe, and it is related to natural factors. For example, the Almighty has created the universe. Now this is not a religious command. Therefore, one who intends to acquire perfection and righteousness must strive for Quranic knowledge. One should study it and act upon it. The verses regarding the oneness of Allah, His names, attributes, and divine acts must be studied with concentration, and through this exercise we must strengthen our basic beliefs. We must also pay attention to the laws of Sharia. We must perform obligatory acts and shun prohibited ones. We must also ponder on the verses with regard to Day of Judgment. Through these verses each one of us must create a longing for paradise and a fear of hell. In this way a man is gradually persuaded to perform good deeds and distance himself from evil deeds. There are many verses of the Quran concerning wisdom and which cannot be understood by the five senses of man. A study of these verses indeed tells man regarding his origin and his destination. What is the aim behind the creation of man and other creatures? And why they subsequently leave the world? What is the purpose of designing and devising the long caravan of creatures and created things? The reply to the questions is the foundation of Quran. Knowledge sans actions are a fruitless branch. 2. Purification. The second aspect or component of the mission of the prophets is to purify men from evil behavior and spiritual defects. In other words, results have to be achieved both in the matter of belief as well as deeds. Knowledge and belief in good deeds together make the soul pure of bad morals and evil. They purify the soul. Faith is a field and action is the seed. Even if the best quality seeds are sowed in a barren land and watered too, there will be no results. Not only this, even the seeds will be wasted. The soil and the seeds must be compatible for maximum benefit. Similarly, if the soil is fertile but it is not sowed with seeds, it will not be able to put forth any vegetation or fruits. The fruit of knowledge and deeds is the reform of soul and purification of soul from dirt. The actual aim of knowledge and deed is purification of soul. If the causes of disease are not removed from the body, the disease will worsen instead of being cured. This the actual import of the Quranic verses. Regarding the hypocrites, it says, "There is a disease in their hearts, so Allah added to their disease and they shall have a painful chastisement because they lied." Surah Baqarah 2:10. In the same way Allah says, "And we reveal of the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to the believers, and it adds only to the perdition of the unjust." Surah Bani Israel 17:82. Body and soul. Thus we come to know that the teaching of Quran is related to two things, wisdom and self-purification. And wisdom denotes the secrets of creation and belief of the affairs related to the hereafter. In other words, wisdom is the recognition of truth and self-purification is related to the permissible and the prohibited. Beliefs and actions, both are the result of Quranic teachings, and the combined result of both of them is self-purification. Self-purification also has two stages. The first stage is outward and apparent purification and the second is internal and hidden. In order to purify the soul and to obtain the proper results of beliefs and actions, it is necessary to remove obstacles and all those things that nullify the effects of beliefs and actions. This apparent self-purification is achieved through cleansing the organs and limbs and by worship and obedience. That is, the physical body is involved in this stage, whereas the internal purification is related to the absolute cleansing of the soul. Sins related to the body and soul. Self-purification through organs and limbs denotes keeping away from greater sins. Unless and until one avoids the greater sins, one should not have the assurance that his deeds will be accepted. The Holy Quran has clearly mentioned, Allah only accepts from those who guard against evil. 11. Also, the Almighty Allah has made self-purification the path for achieving guidance and righteousness. Allah says, "Those who believe and do not mix up their faith with iniquity, those are they who shall have the security and they are those who go aright." 22. Anything that is beyond the limits of injustice and away from the straight path is injustice. Thus no one must have any trait that is evil according to reason or that which the Sharia prohibits. If one is apparently a believer but has one of those evil traits, his belief will not serve any purpose because he has mixed up his faith with some sort of injustice. At another place, Allah says, "And whoever is preserved from the niggardliness of his soul, these it is that are the successful ones." 33. Thus it means that if someone is, God forbid, a miser, he is away from salvation even though he might be a believer. This very fact has been mentioned in the traditional reports. A miserly believer is nearer to the fire of hell than a generous infidel. This tells us that till the time we remove each and every evil trait from our character, we cannot become perfect human beings and would not be able to achieve real salvation. Duty of the religious scholars. The successors of the prophets should continue the program of teaching and self-purification. During the occultation of Imam az-Zaman 12th Imam, this important duty rests on the independent religious jurisprudence mujtahids and just jurists. Quranic verses and traditions inform us that education and self-purification requires two necessary conditions. First of them is derivation of Islamic law ijtihad and the other is justice. The concerned verse says, "And it does not beseem the believers that they should go forth all together, why should not then a company from every party from among them go forth that they may apply themselves to obtain understanding in religion, and that they may warn their people when they come back to them that they may be cautious." 4. In the same way a tradition says, it is incumbent for the people to obey the religious jurisprudent. Mu'tahid, who controls his self, guards his religion, opposes his carnal desires and obeys the commands of his master. On the basis of this, the leader and guide must have achieved the limits of belief in foundations of faith, and should have reached perfection in it, so that he makes the people gain divine recognition marifat, and make their beliefs firm. In the same way he should be well versed with the laws of religion so that he can advise people regarding their duties and prohibitions. He must also be purified of immoral qualities, so that he can serve as an example and people may benefit from his words and behavior. Compilation of greater sins, an important step. Thus the first duty of the scholars is to make people aware of the permissible and the prohibited. This is a very important task, but so far we didn't have any comprehensive book in Persian that deals with the greater sins in detail, so that the general public may have access to it. This blessing was in the fortune of Ayatollah Dastgab Shirazi. After devoting a number of years, the Ayatollah has completed the magnum opus named Greater Sins. Eager and truth-perceiving public has accorded a great welcome to this book. Thousands of copies of this book have been published in 2 editions. A new deluxe edition is planned for the future, called Salim Immaculate Conscience and Gunahain Kabira, Greater Sins. Fortunately, the aim of the respected author is to guide people and help in the purification of their souls. After completing Gunahain Kabira, he was busy in writing a book that deals with the sins of the heart, that being the second important stage of religious guidance. Actually, the book, called Salim, is a sequel to Gunahain Kabira. The collection of topics and arrangement of the subject matter was entrusted to me, and by the grace of Allah, the book is complete and published in a good format. Responsibility of the respected readers. I consider it my duty to remind that those who are interested in such material have an important responsibility. They must propagate this book among their family and friend circles and help in propagation of religion. They can fulfill the duty that is made obligatory on them by religion and conscience. It is the best method of commanding good and prohibiting evil. I also thank all those who have cooperated in preparation and publication of these books. I hope they will continue to extend their help and encourage writers and publishers. Saeed Muhammad Hashim Dastgab. Tehran, 1st Zilqa'dah 1392 AH. The 8th of December 1972 AD. Introduction. Called Salim, Immaculate Conscience. The day on which property will not avail, nor sons, except him who comes to Allah with a heart free from evil. 55. Sin of the heart. Human beings are made up of a physical body and a soul. Everyone has a visible existence and an invisible entity. Also, man is either righteous or evil-minded. Whether righteous or evil, the character of man consists of 2 aspects. One aspect of his character becomes visible through his physical body. For example, a person prays, fasts, performs Hajj or gives charity. Or he may be involved in sinful activities like drinking, gambling and fornication, etc. All these types of deeds are performed and become apparent through his physical body. Another aspect of human character is connected with his inner dimensions and thoughts. For example, belief, iman, love, fear, hope, satisfaction, or for example, disbelief, hypocrisy, hatred and pride. All these aspects become apparent only when a person wants to make them apparent. Evil deeds that are related to physical body are also prohibited by Almighty Allah. It is obligatory for every person to be aware of all such evils and to refrain from them. In the same way, evils of the heart are also sinful and Allah Almighty has commanded us to shun them. We must be cognizant of evils of thoughts and heart also. We must also refrain from such deeds and try our best to keep our hearts free from such sins. Quran and the sins of the heart. The Almighty has warned against sinful thoughts in a number of places in the Quran. For example, in Surah Baqarah Allah says, "But He will call you to account for what your hearts have earned, and Allah is forgiving, forbearing." 66. In the same chapter, a person who hides testimony is referred to as a sinner of the heart. The Quran says, "And do not conceal testimony, and whoever conceals it, his heart is surely sinful." 7. Also, "And whether you manifest what is in your minds or hide it, Allah will call you to account." According to it. 88. Similarly, in Surah Bani Israel, the divine words say, "Surely the hearing and the sight and the heart, all of these, shall be questioned about that." 99. It means that the eyes will be questioned for what they have beheld, the ears for whatever they heard, and the heart for all the thoughts it harbored. Furthermore, in Surah Nur, Allah states, "Surely as for those who love that scandal should circulate respecting those who believe, they shall have a grievous chastisement in this world and the hereafter, and Allah knows, while you do not know." 1010. This verse has refrained us from desiring that evil may befall the people of belief Muslims. It is a sin of the heart and earns a terrible chastisement. In the same way Allah says in Surah An'am, "And abandon open and secret sin." 11. Some commentators of the Holy Quran have mentioned that apparent sins are those that are related to the physical being and hidden evils are perpetrated in one's heart. Thus, whenever evils and sins are discussed in Quranic verses and traditions, the sins of the heart are also included. Sin of the heart or inner disease. The evils of the heart are compared to disease of the heart in a number of places in the Quran. There is a disease in their hearts, so Allah added to their disease. 1212. The above verse is speaking about the hypocrites. Paradise is the abode of only those who possess a perfect heart. When a heart is clean and purified from all sorts of sins and evils, it is known as the perfect heart or in other words the correct or whole heart, a healthy heart. It is supposed to be the basis of righteousness. The verse of Surah Shu'ara says, "The day on which property will not avail, nor sons, except him who comes to Allah with a heart free from evil." 13. Like wealth, all the worldly things are not beneficial in each and every circumstance. They are useful only in some few situations. For example, wealth profits us only during our lifetime, but after death what we require is a perfect and sinless heart. Without such a heart we cannot gain anything. One of the names of paradise is abode of peace, Darus Salam. They shall have the abode of peace with their Lord. 14. However, the exegesis of Quran mentions that Darus Salam means the abode of those who shall be safe from every kind of disease and affliction. Consequently, those who are afflicted with the maladies of sins will have to remain in the infirmary of hell till they are cured of every affliction and regain spiritual health. Only after undergoing this process can they qualify to enter paradise. But there are some diseases that are incurable, like disbelief, hypocrisy and enmity with Allah and holy personalities. People afflicted with such diseases have to remain in hell forever. What is disease of the heart? Just as the physical body is either healthy or diseased, in the same way heart is also healthy or sick. Physical health implies that all the organs work perfectly for the purpose they have been created for. The opposite of this implies physical disease. That is, when the organs do not perform their duty properly and when their specialty and capability is no more, it is said that the body is sick. This results in discomfort and life becomes difficult. In the same way, a healthy heart is one that possesses all the human qualities and emotions. It should have absolute and correct divine recognition marifat, and it must be restful as far as the divine truths and beliefs are concerned, and it must be pure from all evil and animal feelings. Refusal, doubt, jealousy, malice, miserliness, unsuitable friendship or enmity, and in the same way, needless fear or hope etc. are different types of heart diseases. These ailments shall be discussed in detail in this book, all of which are against the nature on which man is created. This nature is known as the first nature, Fitrat-e Awaliya. Amirul Mominin Ali A.S. says, the human body has 6 conditions: health or sickness, death or life, sleep or wakefulness. In the same way the human soul also has these conditions. Life of soul is its knowledge and ignorance is its death. Sickness of soul is it being involved in doubts and its health is firm belief. Stupor of the soul is that it is heedless while wakefulness is its awareness. 15. Imam Ali A.S. also says in Najul Balagha, beware. One of the calamities is hunger. And worse than that is physical sickness. More terrible than physical malady is the sickness of heart. And beware. 1. Of the bounties is wealth. And better than wealth is physical health. More preferable than physical health is the piety of the heart. This implies that the heart must be purified from all kinds of dirt and sins. Harmful effects of the diseases of the heart. When a particular part of the body is sick, the whole body is under terrible pain and life becomes difficult. Similarly, when one is afflicted with a spiritual malady, one feels remorse in his worldly life also. He continues to be afflicted even after his death, about which the Sharia has informed in advance. Life becomes difficult due to spiritual maladies, and sometimes he is even inclined to commit suicide. The above discussion shows that incidence of suicide, especially among the youth, that is on the increase day by day, is a consequence of these spiritual diseases. The best prevention is to keep the heart pure from defects. How this can be achieved shall be explained in this book. For example, when we have a toothache, we do not enjoy anything. All pleasures become tasteless in such condition, and life becomes unbearable. In the same way, ignorance, malice, pride, jealousy, arrogance, vanity, and all other spiritual maladies have similar effect, like the jealous person who is always filled with remorse. Anger tortures the person himself, so much so that he even loses sleep. He is ever burning within by seeing that another person has obtained a particular status. He is ever waiting for the time when that person is again deprived of that bounty. Quite often a jealous person fails to recognize his wishes and perishes in the fire of jealousy. Science and research has established that psychological disorders affect the physical body and result in physical maladies. Heartache and diseases also affect physical organs. The human body is affected by it, and the organs fail to perform their designated functions. Rather, the effect of every disease is the same. Physical sins are caused by diseases of the heart. Heart is the ruler of the kingdom called human body. The tongue moves in compliance with the commands of the heart. Similarly, all the voluntary actions are related to it. Obviously, when the heart is sick and uncontrollable, the words and deeds of that person are in complete disorder. He will perform improper actions and utter rubbish, and his actions shall be against human nature. They shall deviate from humanity and path of religion. Thus whatever sin a person commits, it is due to spiritual ailments. Therefore, reason dictates and religion commands us to make every effort to cure the disease of our heart. We must care more for the well-being of our heart. When the heart is in a bad shape, the body is affected. The army commits injustice when the king is a weakling. 1616. Amirul Mominin Ali A.S. says, people of Marifat recognition see that the worldly people are more concerned about physical death, while more serious is the death of their hearts within their living bodies. 17. Physical death deprives the person of a few days of worldly pleasures. Those pleasures had also been accompanied by thousands of discomforts. However, the death of the heart and conscience deprives one of righteousness forever. The pure eternal pleasures turn their back towards him, and man cannot spend a purified life of a human being, whether in this world or in the hereafter. Therefore we must not take the spiritual maladies lightly, and we must not be careless with regard to their cure. Just as carelessness is unsuitable with physical diseases, in the same way reason dictates that we pay utmost attention to such spiritual maladies, because they are more dangerous. Physical diseases can lead to death, while spiritual diseases make one afflicted with eternal degradation. Depravity of the society. Different types of evils are increasing day by day in the society. Thinking upon the root cause of this, we realize that all corruption, depravity, and crimes are due to a type of psychological disease. And the same psychological disease or weakness instigates man to commit inhuman acts. Every type of unrest, robberies, unbridled passion, sensuality, drinking, drugs, destruction of family life, divorces, hard-heartedness, anger, suicide, etc. are due to one or the other kind of psychological disorders. In other words, it is due to the lack of human feelings. It is the responsibility of the government to take concrete steps for the psychological health of its subjects. Today, psychological cure is more important than physical health. Sophisticated hospitals, clinics, and medical colleges are established for physical ailments. Huge pharmaceutical companies are built to produce medicines. Numerous research laboratories are engaged in discovering new medicines. All of them aim to seek the cure of human sufferings. They are very much the need of the hour. But why are we oblivious of the psychological and spiritual ills? Man is always caught in the trap of psychological diseases, and in this same condition reaches the jaws of death. Why do people not take any step to save humanity from perdition? Rather, they act in the opposite way. Knowingly or unknowingly, various propagandas are being carried out to destroy psychological health. Efforts are made to kill humanity and morals and to trap the human society in the quagmire of sensuality, unbridled passions and wantonness. Jealousy, an example. News reports mention that Swiss doctors have instituted a committee to find the cure of jealousy. This shows that doctors consider jealousy an ordinary disease that is harmful for human beings, just as they are in search of new cures of tuberculosis and cancer in the same way they strive to arrive at a cure for jealousy. We do not know how and through which method these doctors have begun their research, whether they shall be successful in their endeavor or not. Anyway, a dignified thought process has been initiated, and this alone is a cause for hope. People are aware of the disease of jealousy since times immemorial, but they have not been able to find the cure for it. They are unaware of the medicine that can cure this disease, which has destroyed families and made family life hell. So much so that except for Islam even the other religions have nothing to offer against this terrible malady. Ethical and moral schools are also ineffective. Humanity is continuously burning in this fire of conscience. Jealousy has taken hold of its victims like an evil spirit. We believe that jealousy is worse than cancer. Within a year, cancer kills hundreds of people, but jealousy can destroy millions in a second. Most battles in history originated in jealousy. Alexander had the quality of a crocodile. He used to look upon his contemporary kingdoms with a jealous eye. He had also invaded Iran. One of the factors that instigated him was jealousy. It is said that he set the throne of Jamshed on fire, and this fire reached up to the door and walls of the palace. Alexander witnessed this scene while enjoying wine, and he was laughing aloud in joy tempered with anger. That is, the flames of jealousy emitted from his mouth. Studies reveal that the fire of jealousy burnt forever in his heart. The massacre and atrocities committed by Hitler in the Second World War were also rooted in jealousy. According to a writer, Hitler was a very jealous person. He could not bear to see someone wearing better clothes than him. He used to be jealous of the person, and in some way or the other he managed to destroy that dress. Hitler is supposed to have said in an interview, "I cannot bear to become aged and see young people occupying my position." An expert of history is of the opinion that the large-scale destruction perpetrated by Hitler was due to jealousy. He used to cool the flames of his jealousy by such gestures. 18. It is good to know that a group of Swiss doctors are paying attention to a psychological disease. However, they should know that the cure of this disease and illnesses like it is beyond human capacity. Only the Almighty Allah is aware of every apparent and hidden thing. If Allah gives divine opportunity tawfiq, it may be possible to derive the cure from the spiritual doctor and the heavenly book that is the Holy Quran. Every type of psychological disease and its cure is mentioned in the Quran. It is also mentioned in the above report that religious teachings and laws cannot take effective steps with regard to the cure of jealousy. If they mean to say that people have not made an effort to seek the cure from religious teachings, it is correct. Otherwise, there is no defect or deficiency in the Quranic teachings. Which Muslim has sincerely tried to learn Quranic sciences and act fully upon its laws, and in this way obtain the cure of his psychological ills. Allah will definitely bestow a cure if one acts upon the Quranic teachings in totality after understanding them. The psychological diseases common in Muslims and their decadence is due to the fact that they have turned away from the laws of Quran. Whatever is there is due to our unregulated and unwieldy body. Otherwise your being was not shorter than anyone's height. 19. A healthy soul and a healthy body. We have to follow a set of rules for maintaining physical health. One of the points is that there are some extra parts that must be separated from the human body. For example, the unborn child in its mother's womb has these extra things that are removed after it is born, like the covering membrane enveloping the whole body, the umbilical cord through which it derives nourishment from its mother, and the foreskin of the penis that is removed in circumcision. These are the things that can be dangerous to health if not removed after the child is born. In the same way, there are some additional qualities that accompany the human soul by divine wisdom. They are beneficial to men only under special circumstances. These special occasions are specified by reason and Sharia. For example, ignorance, greed, miserliness, injustice, haste, and the spirit of confrontation, etc. All these are present in man since his inception is confirmed by the Holy Quran. Surely he is unjust, ignorant. 20. Surely man is created of a hasty temperament. 21. And whoever is saved from the greediness of his soul, these it is that are the successful. 22. Man is created of haste. 23. And man is most of all given to contention. 24. In the same way man is described as possessing other evil traits also. He is most ungrateful. Surah Zukhruf 43. 15. Very niggardly. Surah Bani Israel 7. 100. Very prone to despair. Surah Hud 11. 9. Easily frightened. Surah Marij 70. 20. Very hasty. Surah Bani Israel 17. 11 etc. The Quran has also described the infidels to be blind, dumb, deaf and worse than quadrupeds. For example, surely the vilest of animals in Allah's sight are those who disbelieve